Hey everyone, as always, Dylan Miller Prospecting, and it's equipment review time, and this time we're going to be reviewing this, the dual Nano Sluice, and I've seen quite a few videos about this, so I am pretty excited to go through it, run it through its paces, and see how it performs. Now, typically I won't watch any videos on something I might review in the future, but this one really intrigued me, so I actually watched a few videos on it, and then I reached out to the owner, big disclaimer here, and asked him if he would be willing to send me one to review, and he agreed. However, I did tell him that I would give it a 100% honest review, and if I don't like it, I will say so in this video. So, but just as a disclaimer, he did send this to me at cost. I didn't pay anything for this item. He sent it to me, but I am going to give it a 100% honest review and run it through my typical criteria that I do for all equipment. And to run it through its paces, I'm going to be using this, which is 16 ounces of -40 material, 8 ounces of black sands, and 8 ounces of blondes. And to that, I'm going to add exactly 100 pieces of -40 gold. I'm going to run the sluice, the dirt, everything through it one time, and then I'm going to get the capture rate from that, and then I'm going to run all the material with whatever gold it didn't catch, if it didn't catch any, a second time, and see what the retention rate is a second time. And then we'll come back right here, and I will give you my final thoughts and the final review. But for right now, let's just go to my other camera and watch this thing in action. All right, have the dual Nano Sluice all set up. It is running. I haven't added any material to it yet. I did wet the material down because if you add dry material to the hopper up here, it will just make a mud plug and just won't work. So the material has to be wet. So I've added some water to the material. We're going to start adding it. It is level. I double checked top and bottom that it is level. If it's off on the camera, it's because my camera is on the floor and my camera is sloped because this is a basement. But let's listen to some music and start running this, and I will run it for exactly 1 hour. And then we will take it apart and see how much gold was captured, how much material, things like that. So let's start.
Fix me when I'm broke, keep them communists away. Check the mark in between black, white, carpets green. Check the other square, we're out clearing our way. dark history classy to try to see manifest your destiny.
Well, it has been running nonstop for an hour, and as you can see, there is very little material left in the second chamber, and the first chamber probably has about an ounce of material. I won't know until I weigh it up. I'm going to dry out both of these containers to see exactly how much material is left over. We'll check it, see which one of these chambers has gold, and then I'm going to run all the tailings back through this a second time for another hour to see what the second run catches. But let's just go to my ugly mug cam. I'll give you my final thoughts on this and a review. All right, finished crunching my numbers, writing up my review, but before I do need to state the disclaimer again that the seller of this dual Nano Sluice did send this to me direct. It didn't go through a secret shopper, but I am still going to give it a 100% honest review regardless of where I got it from. And now let's get to that review. Now again, I got this from toothpickmining.com and it was the dual Nano Sluice. Now its cost is $110 plus $18.40 shipping for a grand total of $128.40. And the pump doesn't come with it. I got a pump off of Amazon and it cost me right under $10. To test the sluice, I used 16 ounces of -40 material, 8 ounces of black sand, and 8 ounces of blondes. And after I had run all the material through it, I was left over in the first chamber with right around 0.84 ounces. And that was both times I ran it. The second chamber, both times, was right around 0.1 ounces. So total, it wasn't even an ounce of material left over out of the 16 ounces. And that was after 2 runs. Both runs were almost identical. And I'm sure that would happen no matter how much material you ran. I'm guessing those chambers can right around hold 1 ounce of material. The second chamber seems to just blow everything out. The first chamber is the one that really seems to hold the material and the gold. And to test how much gold it would recover, I ran 100 pieces of -40 through the material, and on the first run, the first chamber captured 95 pieces of gold, and the second chamber captured 1 piece. The second time I ran all the tailings through, the first chamber caught 3 pieces and the second chamber caught none. So in total, I captured 99 pieces of gold. But on just a first run, it was 96 pieces, 95 out of the first chamber, 1 out of the second. So I'm going to give this a 96% capture rate. It is 99% if you run it twice, but it might have actually been a 100% if I'd have ran it a third time. I typically like to just do it off of the first run. And that's going to be a 96% retention rate, which I think is pretty good. Now for functionality, I'm going to give it a 9. It does work, but it does have a couple little problems I'll talk about later on in this video, but more or less it works like it's supposed to, so I'm giving it a 9. For craftsmanship, I am going to give it an 8, and it is a really solid piece of equipment, but it is 3D printed, so I'm pretty sure if you dropped it on a hard floor, it might break. I did have an older unit I banged around, and the ends on it did snap off a little bit easier than I would like, but I'm still going to give it an 8. It is a pretty solid unit. For ease of setup and use, I'm only going to give it a 6. While it looks like it's really easy to set up, and it pretty much is, using it, on the other hand, has way too many variables. In fact, one of the things that comes with the kit is this little tube, but there's no mention of what it's used for. And if you actually check the feedback on his website, it actually has some people in the reviews saying they don't know what this piece is for. And I actually went through all his videos until I found out that it's just something you can change on the inside that might change the water, but there's no definitive use for it. He doesn't tell you, oh, if you use this, it'll capture gold better, if you're using it for mud, whatever. There's really no explanation for this. So it's really a trial or error thing on what it's going to be used for. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 6 for setup and use. And lastly, for customer service and shipping, I'm giving him a 9. 8 for customer service and a 10 for shipping. Now, I did email him from a dummy account, and it took him about 3 days to respond, which is why he got an 8 for customer service. And I'm giving him a 10 for shipping, even though, as I stated in the disclaimer earlier, he did know it was going to me. But I know a few people who have purchased these and they all got them incredibly fast, so he's getting a 9 total for customer service, giving the dual Nano Sluice from Toothpick Mining a total score of 8.3. So would I recommend the dual Nano Sluice? And I have to say no, I wouldn't recommend this thing at all. When I first saw videos about this thing, I thought it was either going to be a genius idea or it was a toy. And I have to say, after playing with this for a while, running it through this test, I think it's actually both of those things. It is really genius. It's a great idea. It does catch gold, but it's also kind of like an old erector set. You get a whole bunch of pieces and he gives you a general idea on how it's supposed to be set up, but you don't really know how it's going to function. You have to play with it a whole bunch. And for $128, I don't want to have to do all that. I just want to buy something, set it up under some instructions, run my material, and get some gold. And also the fact that it doesn't even come with a pump, a $10 pump. In fact, I looked it up and the pump I bought off Amazon was $8.99. And for $128, I want the full setup, including the pump. I just don't think this is a very good deal. Also, based on my results, the first compartment retained almost all of the gold and the material. The second chamber didn't even really hold any material. It only got one piece of gold, and that was probably because of my flow rate. I was feeding it too fast, something like that. I just really don't think you need that second chamber. It really didn't do anything. It didn't even hold any of the material. It only had 0.1 ounces of dirt in it after I ran everything through it, while the first chamber had 0.84. The first chamber is where you're going to catch all your gold. It's going to be where the material is at. So I don't think you need a second chamber. Now, he does sell a single Nano Sluice, and that is $55 plus $10 shipping, so about half price. And I'm not even really sure I would recommend that unless he starts adding in the pump. I think $65 is still too much. Add in a pump and probably I might recommend it. But for the dual Nano Sluice at $128 with no pump, no, I wouldn't recommend it. You're not going to be using that second chamber at all. It doesn't do anything, and you still have to go out and buy a pump. But that's going to be it. Thanks for watching. Happy panning. And if you're not already a subscriber, think about hitting that subscribe button below.